ever been in that awkward situation where you need to fire a client, but you've not really known how, or maybe even if you should? If so, you're not alone. And today we're unpacking how exactly you can make the right decision about ditching a client and how to go about it.
Welcome to JFDI with the Two Lauras, the podcast for freelance social media marketers. We are on a mission to help you to create a profitable business. But look, we know that that's not easy. And sometimes it means that you find yourself working with crappy clients who are not paying you enough to deal with all of the things that they throw at you. So in this episode, we want to make sure that you are armed with the knowledge and confidence to be able to make a decision about those clients. Should you keep them or should you sack them? We've been in this situation ourselves, so we're going to share what's worked for us and what we'd suggest you do if you find yourself facing red flags with clients. But before we dive into it, can we ask you a favour? We're not actually all that good at asking people for things, but if you do get value from this podcast, and we really hope that you do, would you do us a favour and just leave us a review? You can do that literally while you're listening. So just scroll down, tap the 5 stars and let us know what you love about the podcast. We would really appreciate it.
Okay, so let's start by talking about why someone would even want to ditch a client. Because for new freelancers, this might be something they've not even considered. Like, why would you actually want to get rid of your clients? Well, believe me, the list is long.
I've seen Laura's list and it really is long. There is so many reasons that, and actually I think that's a really important point, because if our listener is at that point where they are struggling to find clients, they might be thinking, you'd be nuts. Why would you ever get rid of a client?
Yeah.
But sometimes you've just got to.
It's worth saying, like, I've worked with a lot of clients over the years, and maybe one day I should actually count them up. And I have got rid of all of them bar one. Like, I've only ever been sacked by one client. Well, sacked probably is a harsh word. It wasn't like that, but I've only been let go once. I have got rid of all of my other clients.
Not that you're picky or anything.
Well, no, it's not that I'm picky. It's just... And there were often varying reasons, and we can go into some of them. But you've got to create a business that you love, don't you? And some of the reasons that I would have got rid of clients would because of that. Some of it would have been because I've got better clients that have, like, I'm nurturing, and I would prefer to have worked with them. So it's like one in, one out. I haven't got multiple lives. I could only take on a certain amount of clients at one time. So it was, and maybe I am a bit ruthless, but I certainly found in the early days when I was starting out, I really was struggling to understand what industries that I enjoyed working with. Was it e-com? Was it lead gen? Did I like working with small businesses, bigger businesses? Did I like working with men or women? Like, all of those things have, I wanted to just try and work with as many different businesses as I could, so I could then kind of fine tune who I wanted to work with going forward. So, yeah, I probably was a bit ruthless, if I'm honest.
But I think it's worth saying, it's not just necessarily because you might be thinking that you just want to try something else. Like, sometimes it's just there's just red flag after red flag after red flag, isn't there? If clients are rude or they're just overly demanding, or, I've had it where they just haven't kept their side of the bargain. Like, they've said, maybe you've priced based on them saying that they're going to do certain things, like provide you with graphics or provide you with images, and then they don't do it. And at some point, you've just got to let them go, because it's just draining when they're constantly letting you down.
That last one about people not keeping up, their side of the bargain, and in particular, like, providing of content is such a big thing. And it's so hard, and we can try to avoid that happening and mitigate it as much as possible. But actually, if they don't do that, what you need to do your job, then it becomes so hard. And then they start, picking holes in their results and picking holes in the progress. And it's like, you're not helping, they're making it difficult. And I think that's a really common one. And, some people will have different tolerances. Like, some people will. Like, for me, clearly don't have much tolerance. And, you obviously will let things go. And obviously, yes, we can repurpose content. And, there are ways, we can try and get around these sticky issues. But if it's an ongoing each month or whatever time period goes by and you're not getting the content that you need, I do think that's a good enough reason to just say, look, this isn't working.
Yeah. And it could, and similarly, it could be if they just don't pay you on time, every month you have to chase them.
Yeah.
It's just things that you don't really want to be spending your time doing. There's probably better people out there to work with.
Yeah. And they completely overstep the boundaries. They're constantly texting you all the time, Christmas Day, 10 o'clock at night, they think they're at your beck and call. No,
the other way around. They think you're at their beck and call. Tune in for more great content next week.
And again, we can try to mitigate that, but it doesn't always work. And some clients just do not get the message, and things like that are really when they've important.
I've had to sack a client actually twice when they just have these unrealistic expectations, and they start off with you and they don't have those, but then you carry on working with them and all of a sudden they're like overly demanding or just questioning things all the time. And I had this with a client, this was an ads client that I worked with, and they were just constantly at the beginning they seemed amazing, but they were constantly nitpicking on why is this not working or why are we not getting more leads and blah, blah, blah. And it got to that point where I was just this client felt like really heavy on my shoulders. When I would see their name pop up on a message, I would just feel like, oh God, not them again. When I had to have my weekly calls, because I used to have weekly calls, they were that demanding.
Oh God.
It was just constant, but they were my highest paying client. They paid me a lot of money at that point. And so it was really weighing up, do I want to continue because of the money or do I want to get rid of them? In the end, I did get rid of them. But, and this is why I had to sack them twice, about 6 months later, they came back to me. And of course, my trauma had kind of gone by then. I'd forgotten how terrible they were to work with. And I had capacity and I knew that they paid me well. And actually, I did double my fee, which they didn't quibble at all. So I took them on and we had the same situation. It was just never ending of them just with these unrealistic demands. So I did sack them twice. They funnily enough, came back to me again for a third time after that. And I did say no. I did stand my ground. I was like, no, I'm too busy. I can't take you on. And I haven't heard from them since. And I hope they don't listen to this podcast and come to me now because I will say no.
I have never been back. Never go back.
See, that is probably one of my big regrets is going back.
It's the same for boys.
Although the money was good.
Yeah, I can see why that could sway you, but I've never been back. I'd never go back.
But I have to say, getting rid of them both times felt like this massive weight had been lifted off me. And it made me realise how much, not just of my time that they were sucking, but it's the brain space, isn't it? And just making actually going into your office to do the work feel like a chore. And I think as freelancers, as you already said, we can build a business that we love to work in. And when we're working with clients like this that we don't love working with, we need to make a decision and we need to take ownership and sack them off or change something.
But I do think that kind of mental health aspect is so important to consider. Like if you're, on whatever level it is, if they are not making you feel good, if they are making you question yourself, if they are belittling you, if they're mocking you, if they're, there's all these things that unfortunately do happen. And unfortunately, businesses can treat freelancers like shit. And if we don't all stand up to that and say, you know what, I'm not standing for this, bugger off, then that kind of situation will never go away. And like I had a client once who it's an ads client, and I'm a good ads manager. Like I know I'm good. I know I'm good at what I'm doing. And he did not believe anything I said to him. He would question everything. He would say, I'm going to go and ask my friend to go and have a look in Ads Manager because I don't think you're telling the truth. I used to take screenshots and I'd be like, I'll add you. I'll share my screen. And it really upset me that the results that I was giving him, which were amazing results, he just didn't believe me. He thought and he had already told me that he'd worked with other agencies in the past and had really bad experiences, and people had tried to pull the wool over his eyes. And he obviously was not coming from a good place himself. Not that excuses it, but because of that, it resulted in him not trusting anybody. So although I understood that the situation he was in, I was like, well, don't tarnish me with that same brush. I'm a very honest person, and I'll always say that to my clients. I'm forever telling my clients now, or maybe you need to just get rid of this part of what I do. And, I'm very honest with them. I'll tell them I'd never just, take the piss or take money from them, essentially, if I didn't think I could do the job or if it wasn't working. And so it really kind of offended me. And for a while, I kept him on. He was a good paying client again, which never helps, does it? But I just got rid of him in the end. It was because it does weigh you down. It does make you feel miserable. It does knock your confidence. And, it's hard enough being self-employed anyway.
Yeah.
We're always unkind to ourselves. We don't need bloody other people to start knocking us. And so I do think we need to take on board that kind of mental health element and of working with people. And if it's not working, even if the clients are nice, if it's not working for you, and if you're not feeling good about your work for whatever reason, then you need to kind of consider your options, because it's not good to feel like that. And it's on that note, it's not worth doing it if you hate the work, or you hate what that business offers, or you're not aligned with it, or it goes against your values, or, you don't like something that's, it's not ethical, anything like that. Leave, walk away, because it's not worth it.
Yeah, totally agree. So let's talk then about what should somebody do before they ditch a client or sack a client, however you want to word it.
Well, I guess we have to, on a basic level, you have to look at your income, don't you? You have to look at, can I afford to ditch them now?
Yeah, and that was why this client was so hard for me to ditch, because they were my highest paying client at the time, twice. And it does come down to money sometimes. That is important.
So I think because you have the option, don't you? You can either say, I'm going to ditch them now regardless, and suck up the costs that you're going to be down, replace them, or hatch a plan to replace them and acknowledge that might take a while, or look at, what prospects you have got, and, have you got any warm leads that you can try and convert. But whether you do, what order you do that in is going to be down to your own personal finances and your personal situation. There will have been some times where I would have gone, bugger this, you're gone, because I could afford to live without them. And there will have been other times where I've gone, okay, this isn't working. I have got to find myself a new client. And then as soon as I'd got that new client contract signed, I'd have got rid of the other one. But either way, so the first thing you need to do is understand your finances as to what you can afford to do. We don't want to say to anybody, just leave all your clients, go sack them all now, without a plan in place, because that would obviously be very irresponsible of us.
Yeah, if your mortgage is reliant on your income, don't just go and fire someone. You need to have a backup plan for sure.
Yeah.
And I think this is why we always harp on, don't we, about why it's so important to keep marketing your business, even when you're at capacity. Because you might be at capacity and all of a sudden, the business that you work with, maybe the marketing manager leaves and they get replaced with somebody and they are a disaster and you don't want to work with them anymore. If you haven't marketed your business, you can't easily replace them.
Yeah.
And if all of a sudden you just hate doing the work, or you just have a change of heart, or they bring out this new product that doesn't align with you, you can't have a backup plan if you haven't been marketing yourself.
No, and it's something that unfortunately we see all the time, don't we? And it's really difficult. It's a horrible situation that people are in, that they are they've obviously either been got rid of, they've been laid off, or that they're in a difficult situation that they know they need to end that relationship with that client, but they've got nothing. They've got nothing. They haven't, because they've been comfortable with that client for X amount of months or years even. They haven't been marketing their own business. And I just don't know how to stress it enough that not marketing your own business, we all think We're all replaceable, aren't we? And we need to remember that. And we just don't know what is around the corner. We don't know what's around the corner in the world. We don't know what's around the corner, what's happening in your client's life, what's happening in their business. Things can change all the time. And if you're not out there constantly marketing your business, building up your pipeline, nurturing warm leads, the process of replacing a client is so much harder. So much harder. And, people say, well, I haven't got time to market my own business. I'm so busy with my clients. Put your business first. Your business should be more important than anybody else's business. And I don't know how to.
It's crazy.
I just don't know how to say it with enough impact.
In the last 3 years, we've gone through a pandemic. That should have been enough to show you that you need to keep marketing your business. We're now in a cost of living crisis. That should have shown you enough that you need to market your business. And now we're talking about that you might need to ditch a client. And if just those three things alone don't show you enough that you need to market your business, how else can we make that point of how important it is? If people don't know you exist, they can't hire you.
Like, I totally get it. Like, I am busy as everybody else. I've got 3 kids, I've got 2 businesses, life is busy. I totally get that. Like, I rarely sit down. I get it. But it doesn't have to take long. It doesn't have to be, I'm not saying that you've got to be on social, posting every day, going live on Instagram once. I'm not saying you have to do all of that. But you've got to do something. And it doesn't just have to be about posting on social media. Have you written some blogs that are going to be good from an SEO perspective? Are you emailing your email list? Are you putting your lead magnets out there? It's just small things. Are you attending networking events? Are you building up your network of referral? When we say you've got to be marketing yourself and people automatically think, I don't want to, spend all day on my client's social. I don't want to be on my social as well. Like, I get it, burnout and all of that. But there are plenty of ways that you can market your business that doesn't just have to be posting constantly on social, although I would recommend you do that.
Right, let's get off our high horses just quickly and just talk about just one other thing that I want to touch on that you should do before you ditch a client, which is, wherever possible, try and get a review from them, some sort of story, some sort of testimonial. And if you can do this before they kind of have twigged on to the fact that you're going to get rid of them, especially if you've got, some sort of good results, make it worthwhile that you've actually spent time working with this client, especially if they're a nightmare. Make it worth your while so you can use that as social proof, which will, of course, help you to market your business. So make sure that that's always on your radar as well. So those are all the things we need to do before we sack someone or we ditch that client. How do we actually go about doing it?
Honesty is the best policy, as my parents used to say.
Is it?
I think, yeah. Well, it is.
Okay, sorry, I'm firing you because you're a nightmare to work with.
Yeah.
I've stumped her. Listeners, I've stumped her. She's literally lost her words and looking at me.
No,
this has never happened.
I think you can be honest and diplomatic at the same time.
Okay.
You don't have to say, I'm getting rid of you because you're a moron. But you could say, I don't think this is working for me at the moment. So I've decided to reduce my client numbers at the moment. You don't have to, you can leave it quite kind of open. You don't have to tell them. You don't have to justify. At the end of the day, you can just say, I'm reducing my clients at the moment and unfortunately, I'm going to have to stop working with you. This is my 30 days notice.
Yeah.
Obviously, they may say, well, why? And you can just say, for various reasons.
My business has taken a different direction, or like you say, family reasons. Like there's so many different generic reasons you can give.
You don't have to give. You could just say, I know you wouldn't, necessarily would, but you could just say, here's my 30 days notice or whatever is in your contract. You could just say that. You don't have to give a reason why. You absolutely don't have to. You don't have to share your personal situation as to why you might want to, or you don't have to share that you cry at night because of how horrible they are. Whatever your reasons are, talk about it, get it out there, come tell us in the Inner Hub. Like, it's a client-free zone. So like, get it off your chest as to why you want to do it. But that doesn't mean you need to share it with them, because at the end of the day, you do want to try to end that relationship on a positive, because lots of people win their clients through referrals from their other clients. So if it can be a positive thing, then and sometimes you might just want to leave and you don't ever care. You don't want to see them again. You don't care whether you get any referrals. Like, I get that. But, if you can try and end it on a positive with some degree of mutual respect, I think that will do you well in the long run.
And you don't have to do this in a face-to-face or a telephone call. You don't literally have to look them in the eye and say that I'm sorry, but I'm sacking you. Like, that would just be my idea of hell. In fact, talking to anyone on the phone or on Zoom is not great for me. But you don't have to do that. You can make it really easy, can't you? And just send them an email.
Yeah, and that's the way I would do it 9 times out of 10. But I do think it's worth saying that sometimes if you only ever speak to your clients face to face, sometimes the conversation might have to be had face to face. But email is definitely the easiest. And
Laura has already told us about how many clients she's fired over the years. A lot, nearly all but one. So what we have done is we've put together 2 different email templates that you can use to actually get rid of your clients. If you go to thetwolauras.com/email bundle, you'll be able to pick up our email bundle, which has lots of other different email templates in it as well. So you can make it really easy and you can just literally fill in the gaps. So you don't have to overthink it and start panicking about what you're going to say in this email. You can just use a template that has already worked for us. So that link again is thetwolauras.com/email bundle. We'll put that in the show notes too. Remember that being freelance means that you are the one who gets to choose who you work with, and more importantly, who you don't work with. You're the one that's in control here, and you can run your business in whatever way you want, in your own way, with your own choice of clients. And it might feel like you have to work with anyone and everyone, but trust us when we say that there are far more businesses out there than there are social media marketers, and your skills are like massively in demand. You just need to make sure that people know that you exist, so you're never in a position where you can't replace that nightmare client.
Don't forget to go and grab the email bundle, which includes 2 templates for firing a client. And that link again is thetwolauras.com/email bundle. We'll be back same time, same place next week. But in the meantime, come and hang out with us in our free Facebook group or drop into our DMs. We'd love to chat with you. Bye.
Ta-ra.